Hello, welcome back to the LegalDental.com YouTube channel. My name is Boyd Shepard. I am an attorney here in Houston, Texas, and I provide legal services to the Texas dental community. This is the third in a series of videos asking the question, are there any unseen risks with the new regulations, particularly COVID-19 related law changes with not so obvious consequences? In this video, part 3, I'll be talking about a teledentistry update. The reason I'm talking about this particular subject is because there is information available online that could mislead or cause you to believe, those of you who practice any type of telemedicine or teledentistry in the practice of dentistry, you may be unsure of what the law is relative to this mode of practice. I did a webinar earlier on April 2nd that discussed whether or not and answered the question, is teledentistry permitted or prohibited in Texas? And the answer is that it is prohibited, but more specifically, it's just not regulated at all, one way or the other. It's not allowed and it's not disallowed, it's just not provided for. Given that, the answer is you should not practice any form of official, what we would call teledentistry, that it is because it is unregulated, therefore it's not allowed. The State Board of Dental Examiners back on March 31st provided this statement via its email newsletter. And in that email newsletter from March 31st, they covered some issues, but specifically down at the bottom, they talked about this issue with respect to teledentistry. As you know, it reads, additionally, the State Board has received several questions related to teledentistry. Dentists in Texas are not authorized to practice teledentistry because of established legal requirements such as Rule 108.8 C2C, which requires documentation of the findings of a tactile and visual examination of the soft and hard tissues of the oral cavity. Then the statement goes on to say, remember, teledentistry is regulated by state statute and board rule, not associational recommendations. Please note, Texas currently does not have any rules that would permit teledentistry. In this statement, obviously the state board says it better than I can. So this is pretty direct and pretty straightforward. Nevertheless, if you go to the TDA website, and as I said in part 2 of this video series, when I referenced the TDA, they are doing an amazing job with respect to the information they're making available to assist you during this time of the pandemic. The resources that they're making available and what they're covering is just outstanding. So I hope all of you are accessing this information. However, in the clinical issues section of this COVID-19 resources area, there is a statement within that particular subsection, clinical issues, which states that it has been the TDA's position that providing teledentistry dental services during the COVID-19 pandemic is consistent with the state's telehealth law, Texas Occupations Code, Chapter 111. Now, the problem with that is that when you go to Texas Occupations Code, Chapter 111, you'll see that this is in Title 3 of the Occupations Code, which has to do with health professions generally, but it goes on to define that a health professional and physician in that Chapter 111 have the meanings assigned by Section 1455.001 Insurance Code. Well, when you go to 1455001 Insurance Code and look for the definition of health professional and physician there, you read that a health professional means a physician, or B, an individual who is licensed or certified in the state to perform health care services and authorized to assist a physician. Further down, subpart 2, a physician means a person licensed to practice medicine in the state under subtitle B, Title 3 Occupations Code, and that is for doctors. That is not under dentistry. There is no provision for telemedicine in any part of the Dental Practice Act. And just to clarify and to confirm, this is an email that was forwarded to me by a colleague as late as April 30th that was sent to them by Casey Nichols, the General Counsel for the State Board of Dental Examiners. They had been, Ms. Nichols had been specifically asked whether or not teledentistry basically was legal in Texas. And this is her answer confirming what we've said already. We do not currently have rules in place that allow for teledentistry at this time. So this is absolutely the board's position on the question. And so I wanted to give this update to a webinar that I gave earlier in April and go through the different law provisions that the TDA is relying on, but those law provisions have to do with physicians and medical doctors, and there's no definition in those sections of the Occupations Code that includes dentists as far as telemedicine is concerned. And then obviously this is confirmed by the General Counsel for the State Board of Dental Examiners. So as to the question, is teledentistry allowable in Texas pursuant to regulations applicable to Texas physicians practicing telemedicine? And the answer has to be no. The regulations for telemedicine do not apply to the practice of dentistry in Texas. This is consistent with the statement from the State Board that they put out back on March 31st. Teledentistry is regulated by state statute and board rule. There are no board rules currently in place as to teledentistry. So, thank you for watching. Please subscribe to the LegalDental.com YouTube channel and look for the 4th video in this series, Are There Any Unseen Risks with the New Regulations? The last video, video number 4, will deal specifically with Rule 108.7 and the amendment, Section 16, that is directly on point for the COVID-19 return to work guidelines. Thank you.